Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning. We are on day 2 of our identity reset. And today we're going to be looking at assumptions. So I'm going to be reading a little bit out of the Power of Awareness for you today as well. And I want you to really get an understanding that your identity is creating your reality. So I hope you had some time to sit with yesterday and the conversations that we had because we covered a lot. We absolutely covered a lot. We did just make sure we're recording. Yep. So we covered a lot yesterday, and yesterday wasn't about forcing yourself. It wasn't about becoming somebody else at all. It was more about becoming aware that that's it. Just becoming aware of who you believe yourself to be, becoming aware of what you believe you're capable of, becoming aware of the stories that has been going on over and over in your head all the time on repeat, because that is creating your reality now. Okay, plain and simple. So we looked at the labels that we have actually placed upon ourselves. We're very good at putting labels on ourselves, every single one of us, okay? Not just on ourselves, but on other people as well. And again, we can be diagnosed and we can put a label on ourselves straight away. We can be hearing something our entire life and just put a label on ourselves. So the beliefs that we have now at the moment, each and every one of us has a set of beliefs, but it's up to us to pause, to reflect, and see if those beliefs serve us. Okay, that's all. We're just seeing if the beliefs serve us. And again, I had to question all my beliefs. And whenever we begin to believe something, okay, and we repeat it to ourselves all the time, that's going to harden into a fact for us. And we're going to see evidence around us to, to show us that those beliefs, those facts, those habits are all part of who we believe ourselves to be. So this is how your program, this is how your paradigm is created. Each and every one of us has this paradigm. So yesterday we went through everything about how we're living our life. Are we living our life consciously? Are we living our life subconsciously? Are we living our life by our senses, by what we're seeing, what we're hearing, the conversations that's going on around us? Or are we living our life by our goal achieved, by what it is that we're desiring? Your subconscious mind accepts what you give it. So if you're giving your subconscious mind the same story over and over and over again, what's going to happen? You're going to see evidence around you that you don't have, that is not possible for you. But if you're telling your subconscious mind through affirmations, autosuggestion is one I find is really, really powerful. Autosuggest to yourself who you are, what you're capable of, and what you actually desire. And you're taking the weight off yourself. There's a higher power, source, universe, God, whatever you believe to be true for you. And we're down here, okay, by in this human body, trying to make things happen by ourselves. But whenever you take that weight off your shoulders, you hand it over, and we have the realization that we're not the old story. We're not the story that has been repeated to yourselves over and over and over again. We are not what our family did. There's a fantastic song that I was just listening to before we came on here, and I'll really recommend it to each and every one of you. And I'll tell you what it is. It is by, oh, 1 wee second. It just type in this. There we go. There we go. Perfect there. So it is by India Ari. So it is IN, let's see if I can even get this right now. INDIARE, and it is I Am Light. And oh my goodness, it is the most beautiful song. So, whenever we really understand that we are not the old story that we've been telling ourselves, so this is where we understand that awareness changes absolutely everything. And that's why yesterday was so key, just to really look. And a lot of you sent me in your homework. There's so many of you sent me in all the beliefs, the habits that you sent me in, the stories, the old stories that has been dominating your life. Because we can be living this story, okay? without even realizing it, the story can be completely on repeat over and over and over again. And it may just be one event that has happened in your life. And even for myself, I was looking at events that happened in my life. It might have only been about 6 months, it might have only been about a year, but those events that I didn't really like, that I kept repeating in my head that I should have acted this way, I should have showed up that way, I should have. So, what's that doing energetically? If your subconscious mind does not know what is true and what is false, you're just feeding your subconscious mind your old story over and over again. So, what's going to happen? The same is going to be repeated in your life. So, if it's a relationship that you weren't very happy with and you're replaying this in your head over and over and over again, what's going to happen? The same people, the same circumstances, may not even the same people, sorry, but the same circumstances and the same behaviors are still going to come into your life on an energetic level. So, the minute that we become aware of who we are, of what we want, of what we're believing, that's where we got the power. And that changes absolutely everything, because that's where awareness is. Awareness is the start of freedom. So until something or until someone becomes aware, okay, until you become aware of what you believe about yourself. And as I always say, never judge yourself. Absolutely never judge yourself, never criticize yourself. And when I'm talking about being aware, it's sitting with yourself, just sitting with yourself and asking yourself, not just consciously of what you would like to believe about yourself, but that underlying, that small, quiet voice when there is no one else around, and those conversations that you're going to give with yourself. Even for myself, if I got up this morning and I went over on my ankle and I blamed myself, and that's what we naturally do. We literally, oh my goodness, silly this, silly that. We naturally go and blame ourselves. But the minute that you're aware of who you believe yourself to be, the conversations that's going on, that's when you can actually flip them. So again, awareness is key, and that's why or that's why yesterday was such a great conversation. Okay, and until something becomes conscious, and each and every one of us, it continues to run your life. You don't even realize it. You're not getting up in the morning and saying, I'm going to have a terrible day. You're not getting up in the morning and saying that, oh, I am lacking this and I am unlovable and I am A, B, and C. No, it's happening unconscious because we don't do that to ourselves. So this is where we understand now the moment that you're aware, that's a game changer. So today I want to go deeper, okay? I want to go deeper because awareness by itself isn't enough at all. Awareness is a doorway, but identity is what helps you walk through that doorway. So I know some of you've posted where your identity is at, the identity that you're stepping into the Facebook group. So if you're watching live here, if you're watching the recording, or if you're in the group watching, I would love you now just to take a few moments, okay? Revise over that identity that we spoke about yesterday. Just take a few moments now and really step into her, step into him. Who are you? Where are you at? How are you living your life? 6 months from now? 12 months from now? Or are you writing out your goals thinking that it's going to be 5 years or 10 years? That's the belief. If it's humanly possible for anyone else, it's humanly possible for you. So take a few moments now and just look at the identity that you wrote down yesterday. Really look at it. And I want you to think, this is where so many people becomes frustrated. They read books, okay? I've done it for years. I followed all the podcasts. I journaled every day. I attended the events. I understood the information. I could speak it, oh my goodness, I could speak it as if it was in a textbook. But nothing was changing for me. I watched The Secret probably 1,000 times or more. I went to all Bob's events. I studied the material. I read the books. Oh my goodness, podcasts from Jay Shetty to name anyone. Between Reiki, between crystals, between angels, everything that I spoke about yesterday. Okay? But I knew it all in my conscious mind. And that's how we are taught at school. I didn't know there was another way to embody this material. We're taught to read the book, to memorize it, and then to repeat it. But that's not what we do here. Most definitely not. We embody the material. And when we embody the material, what I'm talking about embodiment, Bob would have always spoke about praxis. It's when your beliefs and your behaviors match. If you believe yourself to be that eight-figure earner, your behaviors has to match that. You have to take the action as that version. If you want to ship up and move country, you have to take the action and do that. Again, energetically, your goal wants you as much as you want your goal. Okay, your goal is sitting here, but it's coming to you at the speed that you're going to that. So the more that you take action as her, behave like her, show up like her, act like her, and I'm not saying act as if, what I'm talking about is embodying the material. What would you do? Who would you be? How would you behave? What would you believe? How would you invest? How would you spend if you were that version, if you aligned with that version? Because even as we spoke about yesterday, every single version of you is already here. Creation's finished. Neville Goddard, Power of Awareness, one of my favorite books, he speaks about creation is finished. So the life that you dream and you desire is already happening. The only thing that each and every one of you have to do is align to that vibration. Literally align to that vibration. It's not going after, it's not chasing, it's not working harder. So today, I want you to think about, like, this isn't because it's just trying to make something happen. We're not here to, and you will hear so many people talk about being positive all day long and doing things in a certain way. And, what's the strategy? That's not what we do here at all. It is 99.9% mindset and 1% strategy. Because when you work on your mind so much and you understand the universal laws, and we touched on them yesterday very slightly, and when you understand the universal laws and you understand the law of rhythm, we go into the cause and effect, we go through all the law of attraction, the law of vibration. But when you really see the depths of each and every one of them, you will understand that it is who you are being, how you're feeling. And then when your mindset is so strong that your emotions must give way, you know things are happening. We will have the ups. I don't promise you that everything is just going to be roses in the garden, because it's not. Life is going to be happening. Life always happens. But we see every obstacle, we see every single pull as an opportunity for you to grow into that next version. So I have clients and they would be contacting me maybe 6 weeks into their journey, and they're saying, "Oh my goodness, Melanie, this is happening." And I'm going, "Great. That's great. Energy shifting. Things aren't going to stay the same." So of course energy has to shift. Things have to be removed from your life for you to elevate and for other things and other people to come into your life energetically. You can't go and purchase another bed for your bedroom until you take the old one out. So this is exactly what happens energetically as well. So as you're shifting your beliefs, as you're shifting your understandings, and as well as when you're shifting your identity, that old story we spoke about that doesn't serve you has to give way. We look back and we use our memory. Your memory is one of your higher faculties, and we have been born with so many beautiful higher faculties we don't even use. We use our senses to dictate the life that we have by what we see and what we hear and what's happening around us. Instead of that, step into your higher faculties, your imagination, your will. Use your memory for picking out amazing events that's happened in your life, flooding your subconscious mind with what it is that you want it to be. Not of the old story and not of what people have said, not what people have done or events that's happened. And I stayed there for quite a long time. My journey started while I was in such a depths of dark places. But before that, I had studied, I had read the books, I had done it all. And I got to the stage then, if you want to call God, I do, or God or universe, it was just right, enough, enough. And I always say now, I'm like a glow stick. I had a break before I started to shine. So without any doubt at all, I know every single thing that happened in my life happened for a reason. It happened for me to be who I am now. If I could go back and change every bad decision, every mistake I made, oh my goodness, there has been lots, but I wouldn't be who I am now. So I see every aspect of my life has had to happen. The closure of businesses, going through bankruptcy, breakups, energetically broken. It had to happen for me to be where I'm at now. So that's why I always think of the glow stick. You break it, then to shine. So that's where my passion is. My passion is that not one of you have to go through what I did to get to where I'm at now. And in late 2019, yeah, it was 2019, I started my journey and really studying the mind. And I've studied it like a scientist. And this is where now, with each and every one of you, I could take you and get you to where you need to be. It's not just teaching from a textbook. Anyone can do this. Anyone can teach from a textbook. You can read the chapter, you can repeat the chapter, but until you embody the material, you step out like her, like him, as that version. That's where the shifts and that's where the changes comes from. So that's where so many people become frustrated. They say, I'm not seeing any results. I 100% guarantee that this material works when you work the material. It always does, 100% guarantee. But then sometimes halfway through, you can say, no, it's not working. Of course, it's not when your belief system is like that. So this isn't that other people or anyone else lacks intelligence. It's most definitely not. Or that they need another technique. It's just because understanding something and embodying something are two totally different things. Like praxis, your beliefs and your behaviors matching to what it is that you desire. So Neville said something really, really powerful, and you'll see my book is literally falling apart. I don't read a book from the start to the end. I literally open it where I need it to be. Although I've read this a million times that it's fallen apart. But in chapter 3 in The Power of Assumption, Neville talks about man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. All that befalls a man, all that is done by him, all that comes from him happens as a result of his state of consciousness. A man's consciousness is all that he thinks and desires and loves, all that he believes is true and consents to. That is why a change of consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. Rain falls as a result of a change in temperature in the highest regions of the atmosphere. So, in like manner, a change of circumstance happens as a result of a change of your state of consciousness. See where it says there, your circumstances don't change first. So, in like manner, a change in circumstances happens as a result in a change of your state of consciousness. So if you want to be in that house, driving that car, in that job, having that pay rise, having that income, you change. You change your consciousness first. Just sit with that. What if there was no cause outside of consciousness? What if circumstances aren't creating you? What if you're creating them? And I will never add blame or judgment or criticism or anything on top of anyone or myself. But what if we just sit with that for a minute and think that, okay, what if I am creating them? What if I am the cause? As we spoke about the law of cause and effect yesterday, what if I'm a cause and everything else, my results, are the effect? What if your present life is simply just the reflection of the assumptions that you've accepted about yourself? And your present life may be absolutely amazing, but the identity that you hold, you will never outperform that. So the identity that you have now, look around you at your results. That is a reflection of what you believe about yourself. So we're here, but we want to go here. This journey is about, for me, is expanding and growing and creating. That's everything is evolving. The universe is always going forward. Everything's moving. So if we're standing still, it's not the fact that we're standing still. If everything's going forward, we're actually going backwards. So we want to grow, we want to expand. We're for growth and expansion. So what now if you look and see where your results are and you're going, okay, if I'm here and I want to be here, what do I need to get from, what do I need to do? What do I need to believe about myself to get from here to here? And this isn't about punishment. It's because life, it's not life is unfair. It's because life is happening as you. It's like if you can imagine going into the cinema and you're looking at this beautiful screen, okay? You're sitting down to watch a film and the film is being projected, just the light down through the camera and it's putting out onto the screen that absolutely lovely love story or comedy, whatever it is that you want to see. But it has to filter through that camera or projector. That's the word I was looking for. So, what about you if you're that projector and your life is coming to and through you through that light, through the projector onto the screen of your life? As I said, even yesterday before we come on, and today I was listening to, I've the record player, I'm very old fashioned, and I was listening to some beautiful classical music. And today I was listening to the Beatles yesterday, and it was just like the record player taking the record off that's been playing on default all the time and putting the new record in. It's very, very, very simple. Very simple when you understand this. It's simply because your consciousness expresses itself. And up until this point, sorry, apologies, I thought I had my phone on silent. There you go. And up until this point, we were just unaware. We can sit and we can blame ourselves. We can sit and say that, it was my fault and these things happened. I can look back and I can join the dots in my life from where I started to what happened to every obstacle, every adversity. There's been a few, but I can look back and I can join every single one of them going, oh my goodness, that happened so I could help this person. That happened because I'm aware of that now that I can bring it onto my coaching here. Every single thing has happened for my own benefit. So I often think how easy it is to spend our lives trying to rearrange the effects, to rearrange everything outside of us, to move country, to change house, to change job, to change relationships. But we don't go to the cause. The most common denominator in all those things is here. So if we come to the cause and we shift the cause, for me, as I said yesterday, it was everybody else's fault. Everybody else's fault until I took absolute complete responsibility. The buck stops with me. Everything comes from me. And whenever I know that, and whenever I do that, and it's not adding any blame, not adding any guilt, because they're very low emotions. When you understand the emotional ladder and you understand where guilt comes in, where anger comes in, don't get me wrong, you will still continue to feel all those emotions because you want to feel joy, you want to feel abundance, you want to feel prosperity, you want to have happiness and laughter. So you still want to feel all the feels. It's not about ignoring or suppressing the anger or the resentment or the grief. It's about expressing it through the body, whether you're writing it out, whether you're journaling it, whether you're kickboxing it out. That's one great one for me. So no matter what it is that you're feeling, the emotions will still come up. So we can't suppress, because anything we suppress into the physical body will come out through illness. Okay. So when we're suppressing, sorry, I'm saying we don't suppress anything through the body. So when we're feeling the emotions, we just don't sit in them. We be aware of it. I know, like maybe fear, worry, doubt, they're all there. I'm not welcoming them inside me anymore. I can know that they're there. Maybe a little flash of anger, little flash of resentment. It's going to come and go, okay, it's not staying here. And then you're letting it go. It's you're so aware of your emotional state that you know that that's not going to serve you, so you don't hold on to it any longer. And that comes through repetition. That comes through reprogramming. That comes through knowing who you are. And was when I was mentored by Neil Donald Walsh, amazing man. And whenever we were speaking about, the emotional state, he was, oh, you still want to feel it all. You want to feel it all. You don't want to be numb to one emotion because you can't ignore one and just have joy all the time. The law of opposite states that everything that you're drawing into your life, you're drawing equal and opposite to it. So if you're drawing, like, say, a beautiful home, or if you're drawing financial wealth, if you're drawing something into your on a vibrational state, the equal and opposite is going to be coming in as well. But only discernment is going to allow you to say, okay, I know this is here. I know the bank balance is dropping down. I know, right, this is happening over here. But I'm keeping my eye focused on what I want. I'm keeping my eye focused on what I want. I know the abundance and growth. I know the bank balance is lowering down to create space for more to come. So discernment's only going to allow you to see that. Okay. So this is while we do this is where maybe somebody wants love. And then they think, oh my goodness, I have to change myself to become acceptable. It must be me. Absolutely no. You're perfect the way you are. Some people would say, well, I want to have a pay rise. I have to work harder. I want more money. I need more this. And they think they have to work all the all the hours God sends. That's why I was programmed. Absolutely not. You just have to work smarter. Just change your wealth consciousness. Change the belief that you have about money. And these are all the beliefs and habits that creates your paradigm. The most important thing for you to study is you. Not all the added on shiny objects. Don't get me wrong. I love my meditation. I absolutely love my meditation. I go within all the time. I love my crystals. They're everywhere throughout my apartment. I love it all. But that's all external from me. The most important thing that you can do is sit with yourself, study yourself, just ask yourself questions. What is it that you believe? And sometimes we're not even aware of that. So all the time we try and do all the external, but we miss the real creator. And the real creator is your consciousness. It's the image that is held within you. It may be, you may still have that 5-year-old image. You may still have that 25-year-old image. I had even released a few things a couple of weeks ago. And I was asking myself, oh my goodness, right, what age? What age is this conversation going on in my head with? Who's she? Where's the doubt coming from? Where's the worry coming from? And it was maybe a 12-year-old version that was still the voice come up. And I was going, okay, isn't that interesting? She needed a hug and she needed to be released. So when creation isn't finished, okay, creation is finished, but every version of you, every single version of you is here on different frequencies, vibration all the time. So sit with yourself. Any worry, any doubt, anything that comes up after but you don't understand my circumstances, but you don't understand this. That's an excuse. This journey is for growing, for living and making decisions based on what it is that you want. Making decisions based on who you're becoming. Because, oh my goodness, that higher version of you is already here. That image that is held within you now, we can shift it. Not just the image that we see in the mirror. Although that image is absolutely beautiful, that's just a reflection. But you think about a mirror. You look in the mirror and the mirror is reflecting back the outer image. It's like in life and universe, whatever you believe to be true, what you have going on in here, you're reflecting that out. It's not what we occasionally think for maybe 30 minutes in the morning sitting down to journal. It's not that what we hope for. It's not even what we pray for once in a while. Life reflects back what we assume to be true. So if we assume that there's lack, life's going to reflect that back. If you assume that you're unlovable, life is going to reflect that back. So your assumptions are powerful because most of them are invisible. And give me half an hour sitting with someone, and I could literally tell you what they believe about themselves. Most people never wake up and say, okay, I assume today is going to be really difficult for me. But then you listen to the language. The language is so important. Some people would say nothing comes easy for me. I've always had a struggle for what I've had. Money disappears. As soon as it comes, it goes. They're all conversations. So what's like when you reflect back to those conversations? I was speaking to someone that is looking for love. Relationships never work out for me. I thought, is that a belief that really serves you? Or people let me down all the time? I thought, well, okay. Do you want to continue that on? These assumptions become identities, and identities become realities. So Neville would have written down in The Power of Awareness, to be transformed, okay, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. The whole basis of them. Not your circumstances, not your postcode, not your partner, not even your business. Your thoughts. Thoughts, your feelings, then your actions. So your thoughts leads to the feelings that you have in your body. The feelings that you have in your body leads to the action that you take. The action that you take causes a reaction then and gives you the results. Because thoughts repeated over like time, repetition. That's why you'll, as I always say to any of my clients, you'll be fed up listening to my voice. Just mainly sitting on their shoulder. Repetition, 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 repetition. It's like a child getting up to walk for the first time or ride a bicycle. Or think about when you went to drive the car. You went for your lessons to start off with. The more you did, the more you learned, the more you became capable. And now you just maybe jump onto the car or jump on a bike or go a walk. Just by doing it, it becomes second nature. And this is exactly the same. So because your thoughts repeated over time creates those assumptions that you have about life. Your assumptions that you have about life becomes the beliefs that you have. Every single person is going to have different opinions. Every single person. That's their opinions. So the assumptions that you have is your beliefs. And the beliefs then is the identity that you hold. And they can be swayed very slightly by other people's opinions. Other people's opinions is the biggest killer of dreams. What would you want to do that for? Why would you want to live there? How would you? I've heard it all. Are you crazy? I've heard that many a time. But do you know what? I know what I'm working towards. I know what my life is. I know how I'm living and I know how I'm feeling in this present moment. Other people's opinions I almost ended my life. I almost opted out of this amazing, wonderful place, of this journey, because of other people's opinions. And I sat with it for such a long time. But they're none of my business. I know what I want. I know what I'm doing. And I know how to get each and every one of you there. So this is where really looking at the assumptions that you have, because that belief, that underlying belief, never ask anyone's advice that hasn't been there. I got opinions from, I asked actually people's opinions at the beginning. I was thinking, right, I'd love to move to New York. This was, what, 4 years ago. And the people's opinions that I was asking, my loved ones, my family, it was never their goal to do that. So they're going to give me their beliefs about it from their own level of awareness. And they didn't want to move. That wasn't their goal. So they're not going to give me the advice that I wanted. So what do? You take inspiration from other people that's living the life that you want to live. It's not seeing anyone as less than, but it's really focusing on taking steps from growth, okay? Because the beliefs that you have is creating your identity. And that identity that you have, it's your reality. So if we're talking about identity, we talk about awareness, okay? We go into awareness, we go into, because your awareness will always expand. And the more that you study yourself, the more that whether you want to read, journal, that's shifting your awareness as well. And I could read a book probably 100 times and it'd be different every single time because I'm different. I could watch a masterclass and rewatch it and rewatch it and rewatch it and pick up something different every time. Why? Because I'm different. Because your mind can't focus on one thing for such a long space of time. It'll wander off to, okay, what am I making for lunch? It'll wander off to, okay, what's my next session happening? It'll wander off, it'll wander off. If you're trying to do 2 to 3 things at a time, you're not focusing on one thing. So this is where we're talking about that identity, that you're focused, you're driven. What's your I ams? Your awareness is your I am. In the moment that you wake up in the morning, well, you can say, oh my goodness, I am so tired. I could not be bothered to do this class today. Or I am, I am, I am. That's your awareness. So your awareness is not like an intellectual concept at all. Like it comes before your name. It comes before your role. So I asked you the question yesterday, who are you without your name, without your job title, without your bank balance? Who do you believe yourself to be? Your I am, your awareness is your mistakes don't matter at all. There's a nice, lovely line that we can draw in the sand and we can step over. And this is who we are. And this is where our boundaries are. This is what my standards are. And this is who I am. Two of the most powerful words in the world. Because who you say you are after that I am, you become. So whatever follows that is going to be the experience that you have in your life. I'm really overwhelmed. The amount of phone calls that I have cut short because of conversations of whether it's sickness or whatever. So whenever you saying like I'm really unlucky, I'm really anxious, I'm really successful. I love when I listened to an interview and there's a lady was interviewed and she was all, how are you? She was all, I am super successful. How are you? I loved it. I adopted it. So this is where we look at, right, those words are so powerful. In the beginning, there was the word. So the words coming out of your mouth. And it's just reminding yourself. So if you're saying, I'm loved, I'm prosperous, I'm healthy, I'm peaceful, awareness itself is neutral. Everything is neutral until you put something to it. A decision, whether big or small, is neutral until you add something to it. So if you're saying, oh my goodness, I have such a big decision to make here, it's not. It's what you put to it. This meeting is really, really, it's such a big meeting that I'm going to have. No, it's not. It's what it is until you put something to it. So make everything small, make everything peaceful, make everything happy, make everything joyful. And this is why Neville said that your consciousness is the one and only reality. Everything begins there, absolutely everything. And that's can be terrifying and it can also be really liberating because we feel such a weight on ourselves whenever we say, right, everything starts with our consciousness. And then we can really get into the kind of the blame game then, but only through your own awareness that you can say, right, this is where your goal comes in. This is where your goal, your destination, we're loving the journey. We're being so present, we're being so grounded, we're being so humble, but also we're being so hungry for that growth. Everything begins there, absolutely everything. And that's, as I say, that can be terrifying, but you know what? It's when you have the realization that you have the choice. You have the choice. And this is where I love that awakened imagination. Neville will go into the imagination that it's not fantasy. Imagination is creative. So if you're sitting in your daydreaming, that I recommend you all do, literally daydream and imagine what you want. Imagination can work against you. You can go into your worst case scenarios. What happens if it doesn't work out? What happens if, you know, what happens if the deal falls through? But the moment that you are picturing your current picture of what it is that you want, and we know that your imagination, you can develop, it's one of your higher faculties. It's like a mental muscle. You go to the gym to work your body muscles, your mental muscle. The more you work your imagination, the more you expand it, the more you fill it with prosperous and abundance and, real wealth consciousness, the more it's going to expand for you. So everything in your world existed in your imagination before it appeared physically. Absolutely everything. This home, these clothes, even this computer I'm on, the company, someone imagined them first. Every single thing that you're working with, someone imagined it first. So everything has been thought about twice. Even the Wright brothers invented the first airplane. Like they imagined flight before anybody believed it was possible. And I'm sure that so many people thought they were crazy. The architect sees a building before the builders even gets the plans or lays a brick down. The architect sees it finished in his imagination, sees how it's going to be, sees how it's going to be elevated before anybody even comes on that site. The designer sees the dress finished on the catwalk, even before it's touching fabric. Creation always happens twice. Once in your consciousness and then in the physical form. It must, if you can hold the image in in the front of your mind, it must, universal law, it must move into physical form if you can hold it long enough. And this is why imagination isn't childish. I love listening to my daughter. She's 12 and her imagination is absolutely amazing. It's divine. And this is why perhaps why children manifest so effortlessly. They have no beliefs about it. Absolutely no beliefs about it. She wrote down a couple of years ago that she wanted to go to Japan. It happened really, really quickly. Like really quickly. Within, I think it was a matter of how many weeks? 6 weeks. She knows what she decides and what she writes down as she gets because she's not thinking of why she can't. She hasn't been obsessed with facts. Oh, right, I want to have my horse. I want to be here. I want this. I want that. She's not thinking about all the different ins and outs of that. She's just decided and she knows what the horse's name is, and she's not even one, but she's got two. She knows the dog that she wants, she knows the house that she wants to be in. And again, she's not obsessed with facts. What she's doing, she's living from possibility. And as we grow older, and I started my journey, oh my goodness, I was in the early 40s whenever I started my journey. So I had like 40 years of programming, 40 years of beliefs, 40 years of identity to shift. And it happened pretty quickly. Literally within 6 weeks, it happened. And I would have a lot of people saying to me, how quick does this work? And I always say, how much are you going to put into it? How much are you going to take the action from it? How much are you going to do it? So I say we don't do motivation. I never do motivation. I never make false promises. But the work works whenever you work it. This is about transformation, transforming who you are. Even though every version of you, every version of me has been amazing. Because kids can accept ideas so easy and effortlessly. Why? Because their conscious mind doesn't kick in until probably in their late, what is it, 9, 10, 11, around about that age. The subconscious mind is just completely open. So it's bypassing all the thoughts. It's bypassing all the, you know, the logic mind. It's just going straight in there and they're believing it to be true. They're writing the list for Christmas and then they know it's going to be there the next day. Why? Because they're not obsessed with facts at all. They just believe it to be true. And then when adulthood arrives, we slowly replace imagination with evidence. We live by our senses. I need evidence for that. I need to see this. I need to, we're constantly doing this, letting the logic come in. We're dulling down our intuition. Your intuition, your imagination is you talking to source, to God, okay? And your intuition then following guidance, that gut feeling, that feeling within you, okay? That's the answer back. But sometimes we get the answer and we don't like the answer and we're going, nope, don't want to do that. So go with your intuition for a little while. You get a hit and you think, right, turn left, go to a different coffee shop today. Maybe get a hit Okay, I might like to travel back to Ireland for a weekend. You go with your intuition. You've no idea where it's leading you. But the goal is always there. The pathway is about enjoying it. The pathway is always about enjoying it. So as we grow older, then we stop asking what is possible. And then we start asking what can I do? It's not anything is possible for each and every one of us. Creation never asks what is probable. Creation responds to your consciousness. And that's why out of this world, this book I've been reading, I just got it. Oh my goodness, I've got it probably a couple of years, but I've just reopened it again. Neville talks about the natural mind and the spiritual mind, and how the natural mind, it reacts to appearances. That's like your conscious, okay? Your spiritual mind is your subconscious, and it creates the appearances. So whenever you could say your logic mind kicks in, your intuition's always right. Your intuition will always come first. But then what happens is your logic mind kicks in and says, no, you don't want to do that. That's going to add a couple more miles onto your journey. Why would you want to go to that coffee shop? Logic mind kicks in and you think you're going with your head instead of your heart. Go with your heart instead of your head. Try it. I promise you it'll never, ever, ever guide you wrong. So this is where we look at your conscious mind, your subconscious, or as Neville talks about, your natural mind. There's so many different words towards it, but we all have this phenomenal thing called your mind. It's not your brain, it's your mind. It's your whole essence, it's your whole energy. It's every part, every single part of you. It's vibrating at a frequency. You are that broadcasting station, and then you're putting that broadcast out of who you believe yourself to be. And this isn't just blind hope. This isn't pretending. It's not forcing yourself to be positive all day long, because you can see so many people saying be positive and everything's going to be great, just crisscross applesauce and sit in the corner all day long being positive. That's not life. Obstacles will show up, adversities will show up, but your mindset is so strong that yes, you're not sitting in a lower vibration, you're focused on that higher vibration. And this is where faith is loyalty and what you can't see. You have so much faith. And faith and fear are two things that you can't see. So you can either believe in one or the other. Because creation is already finished. And that's one of the most profound things that I've ever heard. It's finished. Just think about that. If creation is finished and you're not trying to make something happen, you're just selecting it. So you're broadcasting it out. So all you have to do is select it. But then a little logic mind kicks in and says, how's that going to happen? Come on, Melanie, seriously? I'm living proof of it. I'm at my best evidence of it, I'm telling you. Because it's when you're taking that step, and sometimes you have no idea where that foot is going to land. And you're taking the step forward and you're having so much faith. You're walking in faith. And I always would have said, feel the fear and do it anyway. Lean into it, feel the fear, go ahead. But now I'm feeling the faith. I'm feeling the faith, and I'm believing in what I can't see yet. It just hasn't come into physical form. I've created the picture. I know what I'm bringing into this physical world because it's already created. I'm just aligning to it. There's no work done at all. There's no work that I have to do. The only thing I have to do is study myself, shift my awareness, shift my alignment. And something that I've noticed as well is people, they tell me where they want abundance. Okay? But the identity is, I need to be careful. The identity is, oh, I can't do that. They desire love, but then they identify with disappointment. They tell me that, no, I'm not lovable. They don't love themselves. They desire health, but then they identify with exhaustion. I'm so tired. I'm so sick. I'm so this all the time. So this is where your words are really important, what you're saying, but it's the underlying that comes with it as well. So even the thought of your paradigm, where your programming is now at the moment, and now coming on today too, even though we have looked at who we believed ourselves to be yesterday and the beliefs in the old story and everything, and your assumptions now, it's what you assume to be true going forward. And no amount of effort is going to allow you to sustainably outperform that program that you have. you might temporarily push past that identity. But as we talked about yesterday, it's the thermostat. It's always going to come back. It's always going to come back. So where your thermostat is set now, and the life that you have now may be amazing, but if you want to go here, you have to shift this identity. And this is where so many people create success and then lose it. You will see where people create a big one, maybe in the lottery, and then lose all the money. Why? Because their identity didn't change. So you're going to deviate back to what you believe yourself to be. You may see people would, and I've seen it quite a lot in the city that I grew up in, that a lot of people now, it's very much so about, you know, weight loss operations and, different things like that. And I can speak openly because I have went up and down for years until I sustained my health now at the moment. And I can see where a lot of people would go and have that, loss, and then they would gain it all back again. Why? Because the identity hasn't changed. The thermostat has stayed the same. So this isn't, we can create relationships. We can say we really, fall in love, and then we self-sabotage them. Why? Again, the thermostat's the same. So your identity needs to shift to be that person. It's so easy. It's so easy now. Would I say it's easy? It's very simple steps. Very simple steps. Okay. And it's so simple that people can actually say, oh my goodness, that's far too easy. The logic mind comes in. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy when the old program comes in. It's not easy when the opposite of what you want, or when adversity comes in, to continue to keep going. It's not easy whenever you're going through a bit of an obstacle, but this is where you lean into the material, because you can think one thing and do another. So we're not trying harder. We're not trying to fix anything. But what we're doing here is we're asking, what do I believe about myself? What assumptions am I living from? If you're looking for a quick fix and quick motivation, or that's not for me, okay? Motivation is so short lived. This is a journey. This is a journey of transformation. And as Bob always says, if I could put this into a needle and just jab every single person in the butt with it, he says, I would do it. But it's not like that. This is where your assumptions, where you're living from, the story that feels true to yourself, the story that you have stopped, maybe you've stopped questioning, because awareness brings choice. And sometimes we can be in a moment of thinking of getting there. I'm going to be successful when I get there. I'm going to be happy when I get there. I'm going to do this when I get there. It's not about getting there. It's about being it now in the moment to bring there to you. So when we're being it now, even before the physical evidence shows up and we're bringing it, it's not your future self. Okay? It's not some distant person. It's just a grandest version of yourself that you're living now in this moment. Think about it. You're just remembering before the world got at you. You were absolutely perfect. You had no program in the moment that you were born. And then it's everything else that has been filtered down through you. So this is why some teachings maybe make you cry. This is, for me, whenever I was in school, there were some teachings that would really have affected me. Some would really have, oh my goodness, really knocked my confidence. And whenever I am doing this work now, I would feel that emotion come to the surface again. It's not because I'm learning something new, it's because I'm remembering. And this is, I'm remembering maybe a blockage, I'm remembering a belief, I'm remembering something that doesn't serve me. And that's different. So we're going to really look now, and we're going to start with the conception that you have of yourself. The conception that you have of yourself determines, well, not the image that you're portraying out to the world. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I want you to sit with yourself today, and I want you to go with them. Not your bank account, not your qualifications, not your age, not your past, your conception of yourself. And if that is true, then changing your self-concept is going to change everything. It's not overnight, perhaps, okay, but you will feel a shift. You will feel a shift, okay? Some of you may be watching this and you may feel triggered, and that's okay. There's a shift in energy because life can only mirror the image that you hold within. It can only hold the image that you've got inside you. So, because when a woman or man, okay, decides to really develop themselves, everything around you is going to change. Your identity is going to change. Your beliefs are going to change. The life that you're living is going to change. But you're becoming a higher version, not a better version. I'm not saying higher or lower, but the most grandest version that you can possibly be. And it's just practicing, practicing until you become. Okay? So today you've got a little bit of work to do. And just ask yourself, what would you love? How would you love to speak? How would you treat your body? How would you lead? How would you lead in your business? How would you, express yourself? How do you spend your day? In your ideal day, how would you spend your day? Where are you at? What are you doing? And who are you with? Those three things. And today I had a beautiful flashback. I was doing yoga on the beach and I happened to see my husband and my daughter. They were in for the morning swim before I finished. And I just had this beautiful wave going. I wrote this out a few years ago. I literally wrote it out a few years ago. So whenever you're aware of where you want to be, of what you want to be doing, who do you want to be with, and this is where your awareness is going to remind you that circumstances now are just temporary. Awareness will remind you that the identity is creative and your imagination is so sacred. So stretch that imagination today. Shift that imagination. Sit with it. Meditate with it. Literally go in as much. And where you're thinking, where your thought pattern is now, where you're thinking, you can expand it again and expand it again. I always share the story of sitting in first class, and I remember looking out. I can't remember. I was either flying from New York or Canada or somewhere like that. And I remember looking out and I was going, okay, private jet. Someone's got a higher level of awareness than me. Private jet was sitting. So this is where your imagination. I was going, okay, let's go. And then not that long after that, I was on one. So the same idea here. You can always stretch it. You can literally always stretch your imagination. This is why we're here, to grow and to expand. And perhaps that's what the identity reset is all about. Not creating a new person, but remembering who you have always been. And then practice being that person. One thought, one choice, one assumption at a time. Because your identity leads and then reality follows. So I want you to really look at those three things. The 6 months, 12 months, no longer. I bring my goals now. My goals was always a 12-month. I would have brought them down to 9 months. Then I would have brought them to six. Now my goals, I set my goals 3 months at a time. All my business goals 3 months at a time. So look at where you're at, what you're doing, and who you're with in your ideal day. And how do you believe, or how do you feel, and what do you believe about yourself? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you tomorrow. Have the most beautiful rest of your day. Take care.